Hey everybody, it's Jim T with Key, the realtor from BG, coming at you live from the White House in Bowling Green, Ohio. In today's Marketwatch report, we will be covering the Q3 results for 2020 for Wood County, Ohio. First thing I'd like to point out for everybody watching today is how well Wood County is doing in today's real estate market. Finally, we have some good news. With everything else going on, with global pandemic and shutdowns, and everybody's at the edge of their sanity, we have some good news, especially if you happen to own real estate in Wood County, Ohio. You are doing really well right now. The average sales price in Wood County right now is $235,402. That is a year-over-year increase this year by 2.2%. The median sale price is still about the same, $205,250, and that is a year-over-year increase by 2.7%. Now, much of this appreciation is being driven by this number right down here. That's the month's supply of inventory. In a regular real estate market where we are at hypothetical equilibrium, that means there's equal parts buyers as there are sellers. There should be roughly 4 to 5 months worth of inventory on the market to ensure that prices stay about flat, everybody's satisfied, everybody walks home happy. Right now, this number is dangerously low. 2.4 months of inventory will likely continue to see appreciation in sales prices year over year like we have been. And here in a little bit, I'll explain a little bit more why I believe that to be true. Here's some other positive indicators. The percent of original price received. So what that means is the percentage of list price that a sale accumulated at the end of the sale. So hypothetically speaking, if you listed a house for $100,000, then you can reasonably expect to have received at least $98,800 at the close of the sale. Homes for sale in Wood County in Q3 have dropped significantly, about a little over 25%, 28.9% to be exact, to 285. When we look over here now to the market activity, homes for sale, this is the number that's really scary. Just 2 years ago, we had 445 homes for sale this time in 2018. Now we're only sitting at about 285. That's roughly close to half of where we were just 2 years ago. Now, this is why I believe this number to be scary. So in 2018, we had 445 homes for sale, and we closed 410 of those homes. Now, flash forward, as this number continues to go down, and this number continues to go up for closed sales, what this means for everybody is houses are going to continue to go up and up and up and up in price. This is great news if you're a seller immediately or if you're a seller in the very short term, but this may not be the best news if you've been thinking about buying but don't know if you're quite ready yet right now. Chances are if you wait a year, prices will be even higher, and you may not necessarily be able to afford the same house that you could if you bought today. So it's important that whether you talk to me, whether you talk to anybody, talk to a real estate professional and let them help guide you through some of these difficult decisions that you may need to make here soon. When's a good time to sell? I've been thinking about downsizing. My kids have moved out, or we're busting out at the seams here. We're having more kids, and we need more home. Whatever the case may be, don't feel like this has to be where you are. There's options for you. Let us work with you to help discover what the best option is. These statistics are wonderful in terms of being a seller right now, but they're also great for being a buyer, and I'll tell you why. Because as a buyer, we have not seen interest rates this low in a very, very, very long time. We may never see them again in our lifetime. Who knows? But what we do know right now is that it is now approximately 9% more buying power than you did last year, same time, because of how low interest rates are. So I will repeat that. you now, as a buyer, have approximately 8 to 9% more buying power this year than you did the same time last year just because of where interest rates are. So if you forego this number of the appreciation of the sales, forget about that for a second, you can afford more home because of how low interest rates are. Now, year over year, typically we see in markets inflation rates hover between 2 to 4% somewhere, sometimes 5. So with interest rates only being at 3%, you're beating inflation. I mean, hell, that's like getting free money to borrow in the grand scheme of things, especially if you have to live somewhere. You might as well not pay someone else's mortgage in the form of rent, but pay your own. And that way, the excess, the principal, remains in your quote-unquote piggy bank. So let's take you down a hypothetical road. So if we look at the historical median sales prices for Wood County, the absolute high point in the past decade or so has been in first or second quarter of 2006. That was roughly 14 years ago. The absolute low point was in quarter one of 2012. Now what happened here was because of what happened here. In 2009, the markets absolutely crashed, and that was mostly because the banks caused it. They were creating lending products that were not sustainable, and people were buying essentially on margin and speculating that this market would never change and yada, yada, yada. They didn't have the money to support the mortgages, and then everybody ran mortgages out. If you're ever bored and want to watch something cool, check out on Netflix. It's called The Big Short, and it kind of explains what happened during this time. The important thing to take away from all this, though, is the likelihood of this never happening again is very, very good. And the reason why it's very good is because we learned something as a society that we cannot operate that recklessly anymore. In fact, we created some bills to make sure that we don't, in the form of Dodd-Frank and RESPA, which now has tightened the lending requirements and has made it more difficult to turn loan products into securities. So it's very much a different world that we live in today than was around just 10 years ago. That's why this trend of real estate prices continuing to scale upward is something that we should anticipate seeing for a good long time. Now, it's normal for real estate markets to dip and go up, dip and go up. Typically, the first quarter of every year is the low point of the year, and then the second to third quarter is the high point of every year. And that's because nobody really wants to move when it's minus 20 degrees out and has 6 inches of snow on the ground. Most people also don't feel like putting their houses on the market during this time. Think about it. You got holidays, you got family coming in and out. Typically, when it's not a global pandemic, it's just not a good time to plan something like this. Also, what happens with kids if you have kids? Do you have to move them into a new school district? There's just too much change. Most people try to avoid it during this time of the year. That's why second, third quarter is the peak time for real estate prices, and that's when we see the most amount of listings. That's also when we see the most amount of buyers. But if you follow this curve year over year, what we're seeing right now is kind of interesting. Normally, when you get to about that second, third quarter, you start seeing a downtick. In quarter one of 2020, we saw an uptick, and we haven't seen it gone down since. Now, what that is likely to mean for you long term is as long as these low interest rates stay, the prices will continue to go up. If you've been a buyer and you've been contemplating buying a house anytime soon, now is the time to do it. Otherwise, you're probably going to spend more tomorrow. If you're a seller and have been thinking about selling a house, take advantage of this great market while we have it, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Take advantage of the low interest rates while you can have it. If you can sell at the peak of the market and get a stellar interest rate, even if you paid a little bit higher than what the market has traditionally been for the next time you buy, you're still making out really, really well. Because under normal pretenses, under normal real estate markets, this trend should continue to go up and up and up. Just because inflation is there and it does its thing. That's why real estate, kind of like gold, kind of like silver, kind of like oil, for the most part, they keep its intrinsic value because it's scarce, there's limited amounts, And what makes real estate even more valuable is the fact that it's immutable qualities. You can't create it, you can't destroy it, you can't move it, and there's a finite amount. So once it's gone, it's gone. That's all I got for you today. I hope this has been informative for all of you. I hope you've gotten something out of it. I understand that this is a very, very broad analysis, and it doesn't cover anything specific, like right here, for instance, 43402 Bowling Green. You're seeing a little bit different marker than what you would see in the 43413 or the 43406, the Bradners of the world. You're seeing a 32% appreciation. It's insane. It's really good for whoever owns real estate in Bradner right now, but it's a crazy amount of appreciation to see in a year. But feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any specific questions, whether it's a property that you own that you kind of want to see hypothetically, what could this bring in today's market. We really desperately need some listings right now, folks. If you know somebody that needs to sell, wants to sell, been thinking about selling, now is the time to do it, because again, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, and it's just never been a better time to be a seller. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has helped. I hope this is informative. I'm going to continue doing this, so if you like what you saw, please subscribe on my YouTube channel so you don't miss out the next video. This has been Jim T. with Key, the realtor from BG, signing off from the White House in Bowling Green, Ohio. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day.